So we are so excited to be gathering together. That's really, we just looked for an excuse to figure out how to get to see all of you. So, the music, that's the secondary part. The most important part is we get to see you. Those of you who are turning on your cameras, we get to hear you. For those of you who are opening your microphones, you get to hear us. We get to see each other. It's just, this is what we really need. This is what technology allows us to do, is that we can really gather together. And so we need an excuse. Okay, the excuse is we'll learn about the Jewish music, and we'll get the history of Jewish music, and we'll hear a great entertainer and a great singer, and we'll learn all about it. But most important is that we should connect to each other. And the truth is, music is a great connector, because music, you don't even need to speak the language. We have, whenever we do our Hanukkah events, so we're very thankful to the Vigilettis, who have their, Todd and Jen Vigiletti, who have their own theater, and they do all this entertaining, that then they always send us one of their crews to set up our sound system. And so we've done it over the years, and they always ask me beforehand, I should make a playlist for all the, what we're going to play on Hanukkah at the mall or at the Four Corners. And what happens is, I always say, do you have a playlist? And he says, yeah, I have my own playlist. Now, he's not Jewish, but he's been around the Jewish people for a long time, and he always picks their best music. And I say, how do you know that to pick all these good music? He says, you don't need to understand the words. You don't need to be Jewish. You can tell if something is good or not. And this is good music, and so I like it, and that's why I put it in. And so music is really, it transcends all things, and really creates a unity between us. And so this unity is what we're really looking for, is really to bring us all together. And so that's why we did it on Zoom. On Facebook, it's impersonal. You can't, we can't see each other. We don't really interact. You don't see who's on or off. And so we wanted it to be in person. This way we could, sorry, we're being a little selfish here, but we really wanted to see you.
Exactly. And talk with you all.
We really wanted to connect to you. We miss you guys. And so,
the reason I keep leaving is because we just got like 10 or 15 in the last few minutes new requests for the Zoom info. So 1 second.
That goes without saying that would happen.
Exactly. So people are used to that the regular link is what works, and they don't realize, we need a special link for this one, because we wanted it to be, we wanted it to be more intimate. We wanted it to be just our group, and we didn't want it to be on Facebook. We wanted it to be in person, so that we could all share this special time together. So really, this is very, very important part of this, and I am so thankful to my brother, my brother Ellie. Hello, Ellie. Can you hear me, Ellie?
Yes, loud and clear.
In what order is Ellie? What order of the kids?
Ellie, can you guess? Why don't you guess?
Perfect order.
Rabbi is Ellie. Ellie is
The youngest.
exactly.
No, the baby.
Yep, exactly, the youngest.
Yep.
So we are very, very excited to have my brother Ellie on. For those of you who have never met him before, he is my youngest brother. My mother, I think she's on. I asked her to make herself available. Mom, where are you? Oh, there she is. But she's not coming on. Okay. I'd love for her to come on, because she should get a little nachas. My mother is from a family that that's very, very musical, and she was blessed with children who are all musical. And I remember as a child, my mother, the first 4 in our family are boys, and my mother would parade us around from event to event and put us up on stage and force us to sing. And I remember going, this is torture. This is terrible. Why are you putting us up on the stage? We have to perform in front of everybody wherever we went. You know, there would be someone would come over to the house. Okay, kids, line up. Let's make a show. And it's like, and you know, now my mother gets entertained by her own children. So it really is really, really beautiful. I'm so glad that she's able to be on. And so I'm going to mute everybody. This way we don't have any disturbances. So let me mute everybody. It's always helpful to unmute yourself after you mute everybody. That's very helpful. And so tonight we are going to do something that hasn't really been done before. We are going to take a journey with my brother, Eli, who I'm unmuting. And we are going to go through Jewish history in a way that has never been done before. So you guys are going to be hearing and seeing stuff for the very first time. And I'm very excited to be hosting this. This is very, very exciting. But before we do that, a little bit of thank you is in order, because you know we asked if people would like to voluntarily make a sponsorship of tonight's event, and we have had many who have come forward and have generously supported this evening and supporting Chabad. So I'd like to go through them. Gil and Doreen Fine, in memory of Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz of blessed memory, who just passed away. Greg and Rosalind Gantman, in honor of their 20th wedding anniversary. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
And they're almost getting on okay. Gail Mona, in appreciation and support for the wonderful remote programming Rabbi Mbasi continued to produce for our community. And thank you to your support for that, because yes, we want to do this for the community, and when you support us, we are so, so grateful. It shows us that our work is appreciated, and so we appreciate that. I'd like to thank Herb and Linda Lieberman in honor of Ellie Marcus, Joy Blum in memory of Amy and Bertram Blum, Carol Heiken, Sandy's mother in memory of my father, Charles Presner, honoring his yahrzeit, Rivka Chana in honor of Rabbi and Basi Marcus, Steve Kogan in memory of Yaakov ben Leib Brodetsky and Yuri ben Avraham Goldstein, Sarah Kasman in honor of her granddaughter's 16th birthday, Jessie Ray Dolman, and the Krismans, Mark and Mandy Krisman, Nancy Perozzi in memory of Ben Sion Blum, her father, and the Tazwells in memory of my aunt Naomi Ziegler Savage. That's Carl's aunt. And Sarah and Luke Wood in memory of William Stanley Wood. And Neil and Sharon Pedenoff, in honor of their wedding anniversary, which was on September 7, 1986. Mazel tov. Oh my gosh.
Coming up soon.
Coming up soon. Ann Zimmerman in honor of Rabbi and Basi Marcus. Robert Rosen in memory of Mark Knellman. Jerry Beanstalk in memory of Ernie Beanstalk. Jeff Dukovsky. Hillary Hyman in memory of Mac Cutler. Darrell Linson, Gail Shireen, Barry Uminsky, Todd and Jen Vigiletti, and Ron Floreno, and Rachel Goodman. And if I missed anybody's name, or I didn't say Barry and Alma Uminsky, I didn't say Dara and Neil, I'm sorry about that. So I think I got everybody here, and if any more show up during, we will post that. And so, are you all ready? Is everybody ready? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up that we are ready. Yes. I love that thumbs up. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my youngest sibling, my youngest brother, who by far has taken a lion's share of the musical talent in this family. He plays multiple musical instruments. He is very, very versatile in his knowledge of music, but besides that, he is also the historian in our family. If you ever need to know anything about any family member on any side of the family, their name, where they're from, who do we call? We call Ellie. So he's the youngest, but he knows the most about the family on both sides. And that has carried over to his excitement for music. And he's always been sharing with me all these tidbits, fascinating tidbits about Jewish history that I know nothing about. And I said, Ellie, we got to do a show. We got to do a show where you sing the music and tell us about it. I mean, that is like unbelievable. And so, Ellie, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Yep, we have.
We also want to welcome a symphony that's here with us. Valerie Span has tonight.
Area?
Yes, she's on.
Oh.
And normally on Tuesday nights, the orchestra gets together, and she was intrigued by this, and she likes this as a cultural event. She wants them to all know about Jewish music, and so we want to welcome all of them here. They're called the Global Harmony Symphony. Welcome. Welcome to the Global Harmony
Welcome.
Symphony.
We're so happy you joined
We're
us.
so happy that you took a night off to join us. We're very, very honored, and we hope you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and we're so grateful to know Valerie. Valerie, you're so wonderful. You've played for events here at Chabad. You're so super talented, and you have the best attitude about life that anybody who knows you is inspired. So we're so happy that you're here with all of your people.
Now we turn it over to Maestro Ellie.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. This is very,
little
very
louder.
exciting. Oh, thank you, Rabbi Zalman, my oldest brother. This is very exciting, and I'm sure it's going to be a fun journey. Covering.
Let's go a little louder, Ellie. We can't hear
Still
you.
louder. Okay. Bring the mic a little closer. It's going to be a long journey. How's that?
Can everybody hear?
How's the, we'll check the piano. All right. Be a long journey covering almost 6,000 years, give or take. But music and Judaism, of course, are very, very closely connected. Music first appears in the Torah and the Bible in Genesis 4:21. It's pretty early. So I guess God couldn't let the world go too long without some music. And of course, we know that when Mashiach comes, the Messiah, the end of times, we will also have new music. The Talmud talks about the kinnor, the harp or the lyre of the temple, which had 7 strings, and the harp of Mashiach, which will have 8 strings. We'll talk about that a little later. But all throughout, since the beginning of time and until the end of time, music plays a very, very important role. And likewise, we find music and singing and dancing all throughout the Torah, starting with, of course, the song at the splitting of the sea, with Miriam, our first musician in the Jewish people, and of course King David, who famously, the Psalms are all songs, and he had his harp. And we don't know too much about that music, of course. There have been some ancient discoveries with some ancient musical instruments, so we kind of have a little feel of what it looks like, what it sounds like. But the main thrust of music that we find in the Torah is in the service in the temple, in the Beis Hamikdash. And interestingly, the Rambam Maimonides brings a halachic ruling about how many instruments could be in the temple. There was something called a navel. There's an argument if it was a wind instrument or a string instrument. But he says there can be a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 6. A khalil, which is probably some kind of a flute, he says between 2 and 12. Trumpets, the long trumpets, they had a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 120. And then the kinar, which is our harp, was a minimum of 9 and an infinite, endless amount they could have in the temple. But however, there was a symbol that they could only have one pair of cymbals in the holy temple. And the main focus of the music in the temple was during the sacrifices. The daily sacrifice had musical accompaniment. So I'm sure everyone is very curious. What exactly, do we know anything about the music in the temple? What did it sound like? So our tradition has it that in the 16th century, the Maharal of Prague, he asked that it should be revealed to him from heaven any special music, special songs that could awaken God's mercy for the Jewish people at the time. And our tradition says that the melodies that we use on the high holidays on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are actually the melodies from the Beis HaMikdash, from the Holy Temple. Oh, yela da yela ma yela yela, dira yo ma ya yam. Ah, yela yela ma yela da yela. Oh, yela yela ma yela da da da. Dira yela, dira da da mo. So there you have on the screen. Thank you for the visual. Some music in the Beis HaMikdash.
We get a little higher, a little more sound on that volume on that piano.
Sure. Thank you. How's that? So, like I said, not much is known, but moving along to the Middle Ages, from the destruction of the temple, 5th or 6th century, all the way till about till the 17th century. Jewish history is full of, they were called paitanim, or poets, and they wrote all sorts of poems and hymns. They call it hymnology. And we don't know too much of the melodies. But a lot of their poems have survived and are said throughout the year. And some of the more ancient Jewish communities that have survived till today, the Yemenite communities, some of the Sephardic Moroccan communities, they have a lot of beautiful songs, and we don't know how old they are. Or I don't know how old they are, but I'm sure they precede our modern era. So just to give you a couple of samples of some of those songs, you may recognize some of them from the Shabbat songs that we sing. Erod yikra leve im bad veitzochem kemo baba neim shimchem lelo yushbat shevu benuchu beyom Shabbat shevu benuchu beyom Shabbat. It's an interesting mode. All the musical modes won't get into, but that's the Yemenite. I believe it's a Yemenite melody. And this is a Moroccan melody that pretty well known, called Ozreni Kelchai. Ozreni Kelchai le'acheniya, Ozreni Kelchai le'acheniya, יצר המפתה עמך, אל יצר המפתה עמך. מבלתך אין מושיע להושיע, מבלתך אין מושיע להושיעני. אודה לפי שי אתה תישבוני, אודה לפי שי תישבוני, אודה לפי שי אתה תישבוני, אודה לפי שי אתה תישבוני. Ozreni Kelchai. And this last one comes from the Georgian, the Gruzini Jews. Falls into a natural minor scale. Adon haselicho bochen kelayom kol amukom דובד צדקו, מיהו זה ויעזהו, זה כלי וענווהו, מיהו זה ויעזהו, זה כלי וענווהו. אילה דה 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 מה אילה אילה, אילה דה 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 מה אילה דה אילה, דה 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 מה אילה דה, זה כלי וענווהו. אילה דה 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 Ay la da 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 da, ay la da 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 da, ay la da 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 da. Miu ze viezehu, ze keli ve'avehu. Miu ze viezehu, ze keli ve'avehu. All right, thank you. So some of our Sephardic brothers. So we just skipped over almost 4,000 years of Jewish music history. We're going to get right into the last 250, 300 years. There's actually they found in the Cairo Geniza, they found a large, a trove of documents that had been put away, holy documents that we don't destroy or throw away. They were saved in this, it's called a Geniza. And in the late 19th century, it was discovered, and they started to go through it. Some of it is in England, some of it is in Israel. But one of the interesting things that they discovered was some musical notes from 10th century, if I'm not mistaken, 10th, 11th century, that was it was transcribed by somebody by the name of Ovadia the Convert. So it's probably the earliest known piece of Jewish written music. It's interesting, just a little interesting tidbit. So it's interesting that with the revelation of the Baal Shem Tov and the Hasidic movement began the kind of the beginning of the modern collection of Jewish music, the Jewish lexicon. Since before then, there are, like I said, very, very few tunes that have survived and that have made it through. But since the time of the Baal Shem Tov, there are hundreds of thousands of songs, of Jewish songs, Jewish music. And the Baal Shem Tov taught that serving God with joy is one of the is a foundational principle, and what better way to bring joy than through music? The prophets tell us that in order to bring on prophecy, they would bring musicians, and when they would play, it would in the spirit of Hashem, the spirit of God would come to them, and they would prophesy. So music is really a spiritual thing, a spiritual exercise. So with the founder of the Chabad movement, the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman, who the author of the Tanya, was also a prolific composer. And get into a little bit of the Chassidus behind music, a little bit of the Kabbalah in music. In the Mishnah, the book of Jewish law, it says in the Hebrew, Kol Baalei Hashir Yotzin B'Shir V'Nichnosim B'Shir, which literally translates as any animals, which a shir in Hebrew can mean a song, or it can mean a ring or a chain. So any of the animals, it's a law, one of the laws of Shabbos, that if they wear a chain, that they're allowed to carry the chain on Shabbos, so to speak. But the Alter Rebbe translated it a little differently, with a little Kabbalistic twist. He says, Kol Baalei Hashir, all of the entities of song, which refers to the angels. The angels travel through song, so they are Yotzim B'Shir, they go out with shir, V'Nichnosim B'Shir, they return with shir. And as Chassidus teaches us, our soul is in a constant state of running and returning, running towards God, running towards spirituality and holiness, wanting to escape the physical, but then also in a constant state of return, where our purpose is to be here, stay here in this world, is what to accomplish here. And actually, if you look at the word, if we could pull up here on the screen, the word kinar, the Hebrew word for kinar, the harp, is the vowels of well, forgot to mention, of course, all of the Torah has musical notes, musical cantillation that it needs to be read with. But if you look at the punctuation of the word kinar, there's a dot known as a chirik under the first letter, and then there's a dot above the fourth letter, the vav, the kinar, teaching us that music is here to lift us up, take us higher. It's a teaching from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak, whose yahrzeit was yesterday. But on a deeper level, music really has a holiness to it, and really can lift us up, can bring us closer to Hashem, bring us closer to God, strengthen our attachment to Hashem, strengthen our souls through music. So I'll share with you one of the melodies which is attributed to the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman. The words come from Psalms chapter 63. Tzama lecha nafshi, my soul thirsts for you. Like we said, the soul is in a constant thirst for God, trying to get closer. This is Sama from the Alter Rebbe. Tzama lecha nafshi, koma lecho besori B'eretz Tzion ve'yoyev v'limoyim Tiramamamamam Tiramamamamam Tira-ila-ra-ila-ro Yamamamom Tira-ra-ira-ra-ira Tira-ma-ma-ma-ma Oh-ila-ra-ila-ro Amamamom Bikein ba-koidesh Chasi-yisichon Lirois Uzecho Uchevoidecho Bikein ba-koidesh Chasi-yisichon Lirois Uzecho Uchevoidecho Bikein ba-koidesh Chasi-yisichon Lirois Uzecho Uchevoidecho Yamamamamam Tiramamamamam Tira-ila-ra-ila-ro Yamamamom Tiramamamamam Tiramamamamam Tiro-ila-ra-ila-ro Amamamom That's Tzoma from the Alter Rebbe, bringing out the running towards God, the soul constantly thirsting for Hashem. But there's another nigun, as it's known. A Hasidic melody is called the nigun, of the same words, Tzoma Lecha Nafshi, but representing the opposite feeling. Talking about what do we do here in this world? We're here to make it a better place, bring holiness into the world. Here, this is the other tzama. Hey, tzama, 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 tzama lecho nafshi, koma, 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 koma lecho besori. Hey, tzama, 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 tzama lecho nafshi, koma, 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 koma lecho besori. Hey, ti yedurina marku shtoti yedishnayere marku. Neko plaish, ne prodaish, tolka robi svarko. Hey, ti yedurina marku shtoti yedishnayere marku. Neko plaish, ne prodaish, tolka robi svarko. Hey, tzoma, 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 tzoma lecho nafshi, koma, 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 koma lecho besori. Hey, tzoma, 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 tzoma lecho nafshi, koma, 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 koma lecho besori. Ay, 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 tiraram, 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 oh my, ay, ay, tiraram, 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 tiraram. Tzoma Lecha Nafshi, thank you. It's interesting. It's brought in Hasidic philosophy. There's a lot of talk about music. We could spend hours and hours talking about that. But just an interesting, it's a little anecdote. It's interesting how the music of the Ishmaelites, the Arabic music, is a very sad music, but they're very happy people. And on the other hand, we find the music of Edom, European music, I think especially German music is very, very happy music, but they're much more serious people. What's the so it's the opposites attract that we find even in music, these this push and pull, that even when we can take it's funny, I was doing a tour, these Hasidic tours of Crown Heights here in the neighborhood with a cousin of mine, and I would come in and just sing about 15 minutes of give them a little taste of Jewish music. And I played a couple of, Hasidic melodies, upbeat, and, talking about joy and, how much Hasidus talks about joy. And somebody raised their hand and he says, are all the happy songs really in minor? And it dawned on me that a lot of the musically, the major scale represents a more happy sound than they say the minor scale. It's more of a sad sound. But a lot of the Hasidic, the joyous melodies are in the minor scale. So I found a little bit of a parallel there. But we find that in our reality, we have to pull a little bit from both sides to balance out. We don't have pure joy. Pure joy would probably sound like a very almost like elevator music. in the truest sense, but in this world that we live in, we need the energy. That energy comes from the minor scale, but that's what makes us happy. That's what brings us joy. And that's it. One of the probably the most famous Jewish song. Again, these audiences that would come, these tourists that would come through on these Hasidic tours were, I'd say, primarily not Jewish. And I would ask, does anybody, know any Jewish songs? And sometimes people would call out. Most of the time, people would kind of shrug their shoulders. I don't know. But as soon as I started to play this melody, which originally was a Hasidic melody, everybody recognized it and began to sing along. So I'm sure y'all will recognize this one, but it originally sounded like this. Ein Leid, ein Leila, ein Leila, ein Leila, ay ya, ein Leila, ein Leila, ein Leila, ein Leila, mein Leila, ein Leila, ay ya, ein Leila, ein Leila, dirai, 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 ya, 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 ein Leila, ein Leila, dirai, ein Leila, ein Leila, ein Leila. Dirai la din la da da, my la din da 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 da. Dirai la din la da da, dirai la din la da da, in la din la da da. Dirai la din la da da, my la din la da da da. My la, da di da, my la, da di da, in la, da di la, my la, da di da, my la, da di da, my la, da di da, my la, di da. Everybody knows that one, I'm sure. Thank you. I can see the clapping. But let's jump ahead to the early 1900s. Of course, in the Chabad repertoire, there are nigunim from every generation. So starting roughly turn of the 19th century. All throughout till today, they're still composing Chabad melodies. So there's a full library, hundreds of songs, and most of them don't have any words, so it's quite difficult to memorize all of them. But I'm working on it. But jump ahead to contemporary, modern times, where the main music was really cantorial music, and one of the most famous cantors of all time was known as, his name was Yasla Rosenblatt. Came from a small village in Ukraine, a small shtetl. And he was recognized as a child prodigy and sang in the local, in the synagogue, in the choir. And then eventually he started to travel around. He went on tour from shtetl to shtetl, singing in the synagogues. Even before he was bar mitzvah, he couldn't be the cantor, but he would sing. And eventually he moved to America and began to sing, doing concerts, and traveled all around the world, all around the country. And at one point, he even got an offer from the Met to sing every night. And they were willing to pay him $1,000 per show. And I guess back in the 20s, that was a tremendous amount of money. And he refused, and he said, look, my singing and my voice is only for the service of God, and I don't want to use it for entertainment. And so he composed many, many cantorial pieces, but this is one of the more well-known, less cantorial pieces that I can actually sing, that he composed for the Shir Hamalos, which we say before the benching, before grace after meals. Shir Hamalos b'shuv Adonai es shivas Tzion hoyinu kechol yamim oz yimolei skoik binu u'shoyneinu rihino yoz yoymeru ba'govoyim yigdil Adonai Lasso yisimei Higdil Adonai Lasso yisimonu Oyinu Simeichim Shuvo Adonai Es sheviseinu Kafikim Banegem Azoirim Bedimo Merino Yitzoiru Viholo Yichielech Uvochoi Noi Sei Meshe Azoram Oh, yeah, verino, no, I say, alumo, Thank you. Shir Hamalos by Yasla Rosenblatt. He unfortunately went into some bad business dealings, some bad investments. I think it was a newspaper, actually. And sadly, the deal went bust. And while he was on a trip to the Holy Land in Israel and Jerusalem, he suffered a heart attack, unfortunately, and passed. And he's buried in the Mount of Olives. Some of my friends have visited his grave and sing his melodies there. But segue to another not quite as tragic. Won't call it a tragedy. But the next biggest genre of Jewish music to come around was the Yiddish music, the Yiddish theater. And I remember my brother Shmuley telling me this little episode. There was a young man named Shalom as he was born, Shloime Sekunde, came from a little town in somewhere in Ukraine. I guess they all come from a little town in Ukraine. And he actually worked right here, right down the block at the Parkway Theater. He got paid, I think, $75 a week to be the conductor at the Parkway Theater on Eastern Parkway and St. John's Place in Crown Heights. And he wrote a song for one of the new shows, one of the new musicals coming out. And the lyrics were written by a man named Jacob Jacobs. And the song did okay, but he was approached by one of the Jewish record labels at the time, and they paid him. They asked to buy his copyright to 2 of his songs, and they offered him $60 for both songs. And this next song became shortly thereafter, after he sold the rights, became a smashing hit, reaching number 2 on the variety charts and number 3 on I don't know if it's the Billboard, but he sold the rights to Bamir Bistashane for $30, and he's had to split half of it with the lyricist, so he made $15 off this classic. Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane. Let's take it up. Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane. Viel schöne Engel haben schon gewohnt neben mir. Wenn sie alle euch geklieben, hab ich nur dir. Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane in der Welt. Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane in Geld. Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane in der Welt. Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane, Bamir Bistashane, Tayere in Geld. Bamir Bistashane. Not about the money. Thank you. He was approached many times to collaborate with George Gershwin, but he declined and never made it. George Gershwin passed away before he did, and I think when Bamir Bistashane came out on record, there was a new arrangement for Rhapsody in Blue on the other side. So he did come together with George Gershwin. But while we're on the topic, the golden age of Yiddish music, some of the classics that we can't pass them by. Tumba la tumba la tumba la laika, tumba la tumba la tumba la laika, tumba la laika, spiel ba la laika, tumba la laika, freilach soll sein. Steht a Bocher und Trach und Trach a ganze Nacht. Wemmen zu nehmen und nicht verschämen, wemmen zu nehmen und nicht verschämen. Tumba la tumba la tumba la laika, la tumba la tumba la laika, tumba la laika, spiel ba la laika, tumba la laika. Freilach, we gotta be happy. Freilach soll sein, shiribim, shiribom, shiribim bom 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 bom, shiribim, shiribom, shiribim bom 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 bom. chitty bitty 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 bim bum bum, chitty bitty 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 bum, chitty bim bum 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 bum. Lass mir singen Kinderlacher, sie Mädel zusammen, anigen du auf Freiliche mit der Werte Laubes gramen. Die Mama kocht all Lokschen so mit Kaschene mit Neidlach. Die Million Pippuren will mir spielen sich in der Lach. Chiribim, chiribam, chiribim bam 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 bam, chiribim, chiribam, chiribim bam 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 bam. Man, chiribim bim 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 bam bam. Chiribim bim bim bam, chiribim bam 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 bam. Man, chiribim bim 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 bam bam. Chiribim bim 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 bam, chiribim bam 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 bam. All right. Thank you. So, moving right along, two very, very famous composers of Hasidic music, of modern Hasidic music, the last 100 years. Both were born in 1925. One was born in where is it? There it is. One was born in Berlin. Traveled around. His father was a big rabbi. He came from a long line of a rabbinic lineage. And they moved to America. And I believe in the late 30s. And he was known as a tremendous mind, very scholarly, as they say in Yiddish, a guter Kopf. And he was invited to speak at a Hillel on campus to talk about the music in Judaism, the place of music in Judaism. And that led to the career of the one and only Shlomo Carlebach. Became one of the most prolific songwriters, and he is considered one of the fathers of the modern Hasidic music genre. Composing many songs, which I'm sure there's a young Shlomo Carlebach. He basically became the soundtrack for Shabbos. Many melodies, and just pick a few of the more famous ones. How about that? Another one of Carlebach's famous songs. Shomayim bores Ezri Meim Hashem O Yisei Shomayim bores. Probably his most famous song. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Lai la li la lai, lai la li la lai, lai la li la la li la 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 la. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. All right. So Shlomo Carlebach, we have another great composer, born in as well 1925. By the way, Calvin Coolidge is the president. The first motel opens in California, and the Great Gatsby is published. So just to give you a picture of what's going on in 1925. But on the Lower East Side, a baby boy is born, and at the age of 14, he's sitting here at the court of the Mudgitzer Rebbe, sitting there in the center. Mudgitz is a well-known Hasidic court, very, very well known for their music, very long and intricate melodies. And he was sitting one Shabbos afternoon, a Saturday afternoon, sitting on a couch behind the Rebbe, and he was flipping through a recently published book of music, and I believe was called Le David Mizmar, written by or put together by a professor Gishuri from Israel, and he was humming the melodies, reading the notes and the sheet music, and humming to himself. And turns out some of the Rebbe's own melodies, the Mudgitzer Rebbe, some of his own melodies actually appeared in that book. And the Rebbe turns around to this young boy and he says, "Kennst leinen? Do you know how to read music?" And the answer is yes, yeah, I can read it. So he says, okay. He asks him to stand up, and he says, okay, sing one of the songs from the book. And he performed one of the songs, and the Rebbe said to him, from now on, you're going to be my musical secretary. And that started a very, very beautiful relationship between this young man and the Mudgitzer Rebbe, and he went on to become one of the great composers of Mudgitz Nigunim. His name was Ben Zion Shenker. He's second from the left. There's a more recent picture of him. And he composed as well hundreds and hundreds of melodies. But just share with you some of the more well-known ones that Jewish homes around the world sing this melody every Friday night at the Shabbos table. Eishes chayil mihimtzo Berochoik mipeninim Michero potach bolei balo Esholom lo yechso Kimolasu toi velo yiro Kol yemei chayeho Dorishon tzemer ufishtim Ataz bechivitz kapeho Oy sokani, oy soichei Mimerechok tovi lachvo Atokom biyo hilaylo Atitin terev leveiso Vechuk denariseho Domemo sodevadikochehu pri khaper not kodem khogro me yois masneha patia me zero yeseo oy sheken achei vehevel ayoyfi isho yiras Hashem is alotenu lo mi priodeho vi alleluia bashiori Now, there's not an Orthodox wedding, Jewish Orthodox wedding, thank you, where they don't sing the following song right at the outset, just as the bride and groom are coming in. I can tell you from experience as I'm a wedding singer, by the way, by profession. That's what I do that's my day job. So this melody, composed as well by Ben-Zion Shenker, is sung at almost every single wedding. Yossi sola hayelo ikoy kimses khosan al kalo oyo Yossi sola hayelo ikoy kimses khosan al kalo ay 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 Yossi sola Yossi ola hayelo ikoy kimses khosan al kalo ay 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 Yossi sola Yossi All I hella koy kim so kim six hoson al kalom na 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 my na 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 ho just sola I hella koy kim six hoson al kalom ay 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 yo just sola yo all I hella koy kim so Kim seis hoson al kalom ay 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 yosis olay yosis olay hele koy kim seis hoson al kalom yosis olay. Yes, thank you. All right, this when I learned about this, I was so excited. I must have called Zalman right away to tell him about this. Went to a synagogue in Seattle. Anybody from Seattle? Yeah.
Yes.
You have some Seattle
Highlight them.
guests here. So my camera is there, but the computer is here. So okay.
So they're from Roslyn and Greg.
Roslyn.
Oh, Seattle.
So there's a synagogue in Seattle called Temple de Hirsch Sinai. Did I get that right? That's the old building. It's since moved to a new location. But what do this Temple Sinai, Jimi Hendrix, and I Have a Little Dreidel have in common? Once again, Temple de Hirsch Sinai, Jimi Hendrix, and I Have a Little Dreidel have in common. So the answer is that Jimi Hendrix played his first live concert at Temple Sinai in Seattle. He was a young teenager, and some of the kids from the neighborhood heard him jamming in his garage, and they said, "Hey, we're having a party at the temple. Why don't you come play for us?" After the first set, he was not so kindly asked to leave because his music was a little too wild for a Jewish organization. And the youth director and the cantor of that synagogue was a man named Sam Goldfarb. We've got a picture of him somewhere in there. Now, it turns out Sam Goldfarb is the composer of I Have a Little Dreidel. So Sam, there he is, Sam on the piano. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall... You guys know that one, right? So Sam had a brother named Israel Goldfarb, and he was part of the early NCSY movement, and they got together and they said, we need some fresh melodies for the services, Friday night, Jewish observance. We need some new melodies. So, by the way, l'chaim, everyone.
Chaim, Chaim.
So he sat down, legend has it, on the steps of the Columbia University Library on a Friday in 1919 and composed the following melody. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yashores, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMelochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yashores, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMelochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yashores, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMelochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. La 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 la, ay la la la, ay la la, ay la 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 la. Ay la 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 la, da da da, ay la la, oh la la la. V'tzeischem l'shalom, malachei Yashalom, malachei Elyon, mi melech, malachei HaMelochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem. Thank you. All right, Rabbi, how much time do we have left?
Well, first of all, we have plenty of time left, but I would like to let people know that, we're on a Zoom here. We're not in person, and the advantage of being in person is that we get to have Eli with us in person, but the advantage of him not being here in person is that you can actually talk to him. You can communicate. So if you have any questions, you have any issues you'd like him to talk about, put them in the chat. And I know we have definitely going to go for a few more minutes here, but I want to take a little moment here with your permission,
Sure.
Eli, because I wanted to just give people a little, we're getting so into this and we're enjoying this so much. We are loving it. This is fantastic. And we're learning so much and we're enjoying learning. This is called edutainment. We love it. This is we're learning all about so many fascinating things that I think we're drinking from a fire hydrant. So much information, such good information, going over thousands of years of Jewish music and history and great stories. Jimi Hendrix, oh my gosh.
Yep.
But just a quick, just to give everybody a little taste of what's going on here at Chabad, because we want to make sure that there's something for everybody. And so we did this musical event. And thank you, Ellie, for doing this for us.
And Ellie's not done yet.
No, he's not done yet.
we,
Started. We're just getting warmed up.
we're still holding 1950.
Right. We're only 1950. Exactly. We got plenty to go. But I just wanted to tease you with a couple of things that we have coming up. And that is a Read It in Hebrew course. Learn to read Hebrew before the high holidays this year. What are you waiting for? This is the opportunity to learn in 5 sessions. We're going to be sending out an email so you can sign up. It starts Thursday, August 20th and goes all the way up until Rosh Hashanah. We've had some very successful people who have taken the course. Raise your hand if you've taken the course and you are now reading Hebrew. Yes, thank you for raising your hands. We see you all. Very good. And we also have a pre-Rosh Hashanah prayer service with my father, Rabbi Marcus Sr., and that's going to be on Wednesday mornings, August 26th and September 2nd. 11 a.m. in the morning. We also have we're going to be a learn to blow the shofar. We're going to be learning how to blow the shofar. So in case you'd like to learn how to blow the shofar, we're going to be doing that Wednesday evenings starting on September 2nd. If you want to get your own shofar, now is a good time to get it so you can be ready for Rosh Hashanah to toot your own horn. And then we have a pre-Rosh Hashanah celebration. It's going to be on September 16th at 7 p.m. so we can get ready for Rosh Hashanah. And there's a special pre-Rosh Hashanah for the ladies, a Torah and tea for September 17th at 10:30 a.m. So we got so many exciting things for you. We just wanted you to get ready for them and be prepared. We don't want to overwhelm you with it. We just wanted to give you a heads up that we got some things in the pipeline for you. And with that, we pick up where we left off in 1950 around, and we're just getting started. And take it over, Ellie.
All right. Well, I'm seeing some of the comments here. Shankarian analysis. I don't think so. What genres was from Richard? Oh, Cantor. Okay. So let's see. New arrangement of Rhapsody in Blue. I'm not sure. Not sure exactly what the recording was. I don't play it in any klezmer groups at the moment, but thank you so much, Azita. Thank you. So a genre of music is actually, interestingly, Jewish music doesn't really have a genre. Aside from some of the few Hasidic melodies that were composed, like I mentioned, by Rabbi Shneur Zalman, the Alter Rebbe, which are they're holy songs. They're not, there's one melody that we actually only sing at special occasions, at weddings, or on special holidays, that it's too holy to be sung on a regular day, just a regular weekday. But contemporary music was Jewish music was influenced by the sound of the environment wherever Jewish people were living. So of course the Sephardic melodies, those are a lot of them are regular Arabic tunes that people heard on the street even, and adopted them. Of course, the Hasidic melodies are follow the style of the Russian folk music, or if it's the Viennese waltzes. A lot of the Polish Hasidim have a lot of waltzes and marches, and even today in the modern Hasidic music, we borrow from all sorts of different styles and genres, but try to give it a holy twist and give it a Jewish flavor. Adam Sandler's Here Comes Hanukkah. Yes, that's some very, very contemporary Jewish music. Abraham Edelson, I don't know. I have his books, some of his books. I'm unfortunately not able to read most of the music. Fiddler on the Roof. We didn't get there yet. But yes. Yes, we can talk for hours and hours and hours. Just I saw a book of Jewish musicians, famous Jewish musicians, and I had not heard of not a single one of them. Probably 600 musicians in the book, from conductors and violinists and cellists and who knows what. So Jews have played a tremendous role in music and at large and contemporary music. But I don't have time to get into too much of that. But
We were in 1950. Where would you go from there?
1950. So 1950 in right here in Crown Heights. Of course, the Rebbe taught us many, many things, and wisdom, how to change the world, how to travel around and send out shluchim, and open Chabad houses in every corner of the globe. But the Rebbe actually had a very, very strong musical background. His maternal grandfather was a Hasidic composer, wrote some Hasidic melodies, and in the Rebbe's childhood home, I believe there was even a piano, and his brothers would play. There was a neighbor. Her name was Verdina Shlonsky. And she moved to Israel and was a very well-known pianist and conductor, if I'm not mistaken. And as a neighbor of the Rebbe, she told some of her memories of. She remembered a happy melody and a sad medley that she would often hear coming from the Schneerson home. But the Rebbe also taught melodies. The Rebbe taught nigunim for about 10 years, from 1954 till about 1964, 1963. The Rebbe would teach a new song every year on Simchas Torah. And we talk about the joy in Hasidic teachings and in Hasidic life. So you may recognize this from Shul on Shabbos, but this is one of the melodies that the Rebbe taught, called Hu Elokeinu. Hu Elokeinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Hu Yoshienu, Ve'yigalenu, Ma'yayayay, Shenis B'koroi, Ve'yashmienu, Be'erachov Leine, Kol Chai Leimon, Hengo al di esve machris ki hiveresh li ya islachem leiloiki Hengo al di esve machris hiveresh li ya islachem leiloiki ay ya derein lam ay ya derein yo ay ya derein lam ay ya derein lam hu elkeinu vavinu Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Hu Yoshienu, Ve'yigalenu, Ma'yayayay, Shenis B'koroi, Ve'yashmienu, Be'erachov Leine, Kol Chai Leimoy, Hengo Valdi Eschem Machris, Hiveresh li Yislachem Leiloikim, Hengo Valdi Eschem Machris, Hiveresh li Yislachem Leiloikim, ay ya derin lam ay ya derin lam ay ya derin lam derin la din la down ay ya derin lam ay ya derin lam derin lam oh yo 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 yo. Hope that one was familiar. Thank you. It's the power of holiness that music contains. In the 1970s, the Rebbe adopted the French anthem, the Marseillaise, and turned it into a Hasidic melody. The words of Haderes Vemuna that we sing on the Shabbos in the morning. And the Rebbe said it's time to transform. Only a Rebbe can do this. It's time to transform the music of the French song and take it into bring it into holiness, and should be a song of pride. And the Rebbe sang it like this. Hoderes v'emuna l'chai Elohim, Mabina v'bracha l'chai Elohim, Hagaiva v'gdula l'chai Elohim, Hadei v'dibu l'chai Elohim, Dirai larai yai yai lai larai ram, ai larai yai yai laram, Dirai laram ai laram ai laram. Dirai larai yai larai lam, Dirai larai lai 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 larai lam, Dai larai yai yam ai laram, Dirai laram ai laram ai laram, Dirai larai yai lai larai lam, Dirai lai lai lam ai yai hoi laram, Dirai lai 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 lam, Dirai lai lam ai yai hoi laram, Dirai lai yam, Dirai lai lam, Dirai larai lai 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 larai lam, Dai larai lai lai laram, Dirai larai lai laram ai laram, Dirai laram ai lai larai lam, Dirai lai 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 lam, Dirai lai 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 lam, Dirai lai 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 lam, Dirai lai lam, Dirai lai larai lam. Yeah. So the French Marseillaise has become a Hasidic nigun. And
What was the story of that shepherd? He had a song, and
so the story, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the Hasidic masters was traveling, and he heard a shepherd playing a tune on his flute or whatever instrument he had with him. And he went over to the shepherd boy and he said, play the song for me again. Please play it for me again. And the shepherd played it, and he gave him a coin, and he said, play it for me again. The shepherd played the song. He paid him another coin. He says, a third time. Play it a third time till I get the song. And the shepherd played the song a third time, and the Rebbe, the Hasidic master, said thank you, and he went on his way. And the shepherd tried to play the song, to get back to his song that he was playing, but the song had flown out of his memory. He could no longer remember the song. And the Rebbe told the students, he said, this is one of the lost songs from the Holy Temple, the Beis HaMikdash. And somehow it made its way down to the shepherd, and I have redeemed the song, brought it back to the Jewish people, and again bringing out the incredible power of music. One more Hasidic thought. On the Kabbalah of music. And music is even you have in music theory. I know we have some musicians here on the call on the Zoom. There's a concept in music called the circle of fifths, and like we said, a shir could be a song or it could be a ring, and music really reflects the infinite. There's a circle. It has no beginning. It has no end. It's an infinite. Goes ad infinitum, and a good song can just, the end leads right into the beginning, which is another Kabbalistic concept, the end leading right into the beginning and turning it again and again a circle and taking us to infinity. So take it into the last 10, 15 years, of course, my uncle, my mother's youngest brother, Avram Fried, very, very well-known Hasidic singer, started back in the 80s, and his contemporary Mordechai Ben David, they're still around today, singing for Jewish people all over the world and entertaining and bringing joy and happiness. And of course, my brothers, the Eighth Day, Bensi and Shmuley, who have trailblazed a new path in Jewish music, and I'm sure you all have heard their music many, many times. And some of the more famous Jewish music that's made it into the mainstream consciousness. A young man who actually fell into Crown Heights a couple of years ago, studied at a yeshiva, and after a few years he started to get back to his musical background, writing and composing, and eventually he made it onto Jimmy Kimmel and had some mega hits. That, of course, is Matisyahu, and his song "One Day," which is really what we're all about. A day where we can all be together, united, everyone around the world, and be at peace, global peace, everyone together, which is, of course, the concept of Mashiach. So, if you know this one, sing along. Sometimes I lay under the moon, I thank God I'm breathing, and I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. One day the sun will change, treat people the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, 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 one day. Oh. One day. Thank you. All right. I think, again, like I said, we can, the English genre of Jewish music is, of course, music is the international language, but we could spend a good 3-4 hours just going through the highlights. But of course, joy, especially at a time like this, is extremely important. So let's have, with the rabbi's permission, we'll have a Hasidic dance. Well, I'm not going to dance, but feel free to dance at home.
Yes, yes. Ain't no he's milvado, sis the house, several, ain't no milvado, sis the house, several, ain't no milvado, the house, several, ain't no milvado. Did I, yo, ain't lay low, did I, lay low, ain't no milvado, did I, lay low, ain't low, ain't lay low, did I, lay low, ain't no milvado, sis the house, several. Ain't no milvado, sis the house, several, ain't no milvado. Did it, I lay la, ma, did I lay, did it, did it, I lay la, did it, did I lay la, ma, did I lay, did it, did it, I lay la, ma, did it, oh, did it, I lay la, did it, I, did it, I, did it, I lay la. Did it lay long, did it all, did it on my did it I let it out. Oh yo yo yo, did it lay long, did it my did it lay long. Oh, did it lay long, did it all in my line did it out. Did it my did it ma did I lay did it out. Did it lay long, my lay did it out. Did it ma did I lay did it did it lay la my lay did it oh did it lay la oh did it lay la oh did it lay la did it all did it my did it oh yo yo did it lay la oh did it lay la oh did it lay la did it oh did it let it oh. Thank you all so much. This has been I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you all for joining, and we can have part 2. It's up to you. We can do part 2. Yes.
We would love that.
We'd love that. Yes. Everybody give you a thumbs up.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Ellie. We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about Jewish music, and we've only scratched what you've showed us is we haven't even scratched the surface really of Jewish music. But the main thing of Jewish music is that, especially when you sing it, it makes us happy, and it lifts us up, and it picks us up.
Very blessed.
And we all need a pickup right now, and so the idea is that hopefully we were uplifted a little bit, and we got to see each other, and hopefully you guys can share this beautiful joy and happiness with those around you. And so we thank you so much, Ellie.
Thank you.
Can't thank you enough. This has been absolutely incredible. But what I'd like to do is just, for Ellie, it's really late at night. It's almost midnight, and he was up went to sleep very, very late last night from a wedding. So thank you so very much.
Don't tell Ma.
I won't. She didn't hear. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you a chance to, I'm going to unmute so that you can tell Ellie yourself how you enjoyed it, besides putting it into the chat. If you would like to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you all.
go right ahead and you can unmute yourself and say thank you to Ellie in your own words.
Thank you,
Ellie.
Ellie.
Yes.
I have a question.
Thank you, Ellie, in my own words.
Thank you. It was very fun.
Thank you, Ellie. That was very good.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank
It's
you.
really wonderful.
Informative and lovely.
Thank you, Ellie. Love the music. Love
Thank you very much.
love the entertainment.
And thank you, Rabbi and Bassi.
Yes, thank you for bringing
Yes.
this.
Yes, yes.
Bye-bye.
Outstanding. Great.
It gave
That's
me a
for part
little,
two.
Thank you all so much for joining. I want to give a big shout out to Ellie, of course. Ellie is amazing. And I just remember, like I posted on Facebook, that when I joined the Marcus family, Ellie was 6. And I remember being around their Shabbat table on a regular average week. And Ellie was always singing. His mother would have him stand up and do solos in front of the whole family. And he just had the cutest, most angelic voice. And then as he got older, I remember he had his room with his drums. He was always into music, always learning new instruments. And it's just so fun to see where Ellie, how far he's come and how amazing he's sharing his voice with the world now. He's literally, this was like the only night this entire month that Ellie was available. Like when we called him and we had like a few dates that we wanted, this was literally the only night. So he's very, very busy, much sought after, and we're so thankful to Ellie. And also want to give a shout out to Nancy Perosi. Where's Nancy? You on still?
I'm on. Yes, I'm
Nancy,
here. Hi.
because Nancy teaches our children piano, and even with Corona, she's been doing it over FaceTime. Even little Henya has been learning from Nancy. All the kids, literally from Mushka until Henya, she's taught all of them piano and continues to teach the ones who are home. And we're so thankful to you, Nancy, for bringing music into our
You're
home.
very welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Ellie. You're great.
And I want to
Thank
thank and Marcus for bringing so much joy to our Zoom tonight.
You're
Brooklyn, Brooklyn has an amazing voice. I'm sure you noticed. Brooklyn, can you wave so everybody sees you? Yeah.
Where are you?
where are you?
Yes, she is.
Hi.
Adorable.
Brooklyn has an amazing
Very
voice.
Wow.
She sang, we did a video for the end of the year Hebrew school where hundreds and hundreds of Hebrew schools had their, kids in their program with the best voices come together and make a music video. And of course, Brooklyn was on that video and it was really spectacular. Really fun having you on tonight.
So thank you again, Ellie, so much. You outdid yourself tonight, and we learned so much. Great stuff, and
We
we're
can't wait
looking
for the
forward to
next
doing
one.
this again. Yes, when
Yeah.
are we doing this again?
I want to
Fine.
say thank you to Ellie too, and I want to say thank you to Valerie Geller-Span for telling me about this.
Oh, we're so glad you joined, Elizabeth.
Are you part of the symphony?
Yes,
Oh, wonderful.
How many people are part of that symphony?
when we got together Tuesday, about 10, but it could be more, much more.
Beautiful.
What do you play, Elizabeth?
The cello.
Oh,
Cello.
nice.
Where's she?
And I saw David Gilman on the screen. He plays the clarinet and the violin, and he sings.
Wow.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And Aggie Weitzner plays the cello. I saw her on the screen.
Oh, nice.
Is Valerie on still?
Wow.
Ellie, as one musician to another and from Brooklyn, I just wanted to say you sound great, man.
So you're a musician?
Yeah, I'm a jazz drummer, jazz rock drummer.
And you did all these years you didn't tell me. Oh my goodness.
Did I tell you that, Rabbi?
No.
Smart man.
Jazz rock drummer. I sure like to play with you sometime, Ellie.
Yes. Oh
Yes,
my God.
Yes, please.
This is unbelievable. That this is Ronnie. You're my Hasidic Catholic. That's your claim, right? That's your title. Hasidic Catholic.
What band are you with?
Gotta unmute yourself, Ronald.
Ronald.
Can't hear you. You muted
Oh.
yourself. There he is. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did all the weddings back in New York. I played all over New York. So it's great to hear you, Ellie.
I appreciate it.
Very
It's an
nice.
honor to be in such great company.
Rabbi,
Yes, Bonnie.
Ronnie was a drummer in the Air Force band. I've heard him play. He's
Oh my
played
goodness.
big band sound. His soul just spews forth from the drums.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, is that you, Bonnie?
Yes, it's me. Hello, Ronnie. Haven't seen you in forever. Okay, but it was awesome. And
Oh,
I love
wow.
ending with dancing.
Kobe Taswell has just made us a challenge.
Yeah.
Kobe, you just made a challenge to all of us. Okay, so let me find him. Where's
There he
Kobe?
is.
Oh,
Okay.
there he is. Kobe made us a challenge, and the challenge is he plays the tenor sax, and with everyone we could start a Chabad MB band.
Oh, I love it.
Fun.
Who's in?
Kobe, go ahead. We didn't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hi. I think that it would be super fun, and unfortunately, I'm actually going to be traveling up to UC Davis for college, but whenever I come back home and visit, I would love to play with everyone. And thank you so much, Ellie, for the wonderful presentation and music.
Oh, my
Wow.
pleasure. Thank you.
Kobe, it's so fun to have you on. Kobe was a little boy in our Hebrew school, had his bar mitzvah with us, and now he's all grown up in
Going to UC
college.
Davis. Wow.
Good to have you on, Kobe.
Yes, so glad you're on. Who else do we have? Any other hidden musicians that we are going to find out here? Oh, that's right. Jeff, you're a musician playing the guitar. Very nice.
I think Mark Simmerant plays air guitar. Gotcha.
I'm really
Back.
good at it.
Very good.
Rosalind is too.
Rosalind? Really? Oh my gosh, bongos. Wow. We really do have a band here. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Greg.
Well, Greg plays the bongos.
So funny.
Ah.
You could do Jewish
Very nice.
Cuban. Jewish Cuban. There's a specific music.
Cuban music, yeah. Sure.
And we. Yeah. Well, it's so nice to spend some time with you. Obviously, as Ellie said, Jewish music lifts us up and brings us closer to God. It expresses our soul's yearning to get closer to God. And so let's do this. We're going to, we've put out a whole bunch of new things that we're going to be putting together. And if you have any musical talent, especially if you're able to blow any wind instruments, this Rosh Hashanah, it's critical that everybody learns how to blow the shofar themselves, because not everybody's able to make it to the synagogue, and not everybody's able to learn how to blow the shofar. So if you can play the shofar, get yourself a shofar, and they're not that expensive. If you'd like one, we can get one for you. You can get one on Amazon, and we have some inexpensive ones that aren't so good, but you can get a good one on Amazon, and learn how to blow the shofar. If you can blow it for yourself or for your neighbor or something like that, we're going to be doing classes on how to blow the shofar. If you don't have any musical talent and you don't know how to blow any wind instrument, okay, maybe it may not be for you. But for everybody else, listen, everybody can learn, especially the kids. We're going to teach the kids how to blow the shofar. Adults, everybody can learn how to blow the shofar. We want everybody's home to be, their Judaism should be pandemic proof. That nothing should get in the way of you and your Judaism. And so you can do this yourself. And if you can't make it to the synagogue or you can't make it to the outdoor services or whatever it is, you can do it yourself. So it's DIY, do it yourself. So, and the same thing goes with everything else. Learn how to read Hebrew. And this is your time to shine. Your time to be the rabbi in your own home. It's time for you to be the leader of the religious leader of your home. You don't have to go anywhere. Turn your house into a house of worship, into a place where you can connect with God. And this way, you really make beautiful music. Yes. People wearing beautiful yarmulkes in their house. Phil, you got your nice yarmulke on. And go and buy your Jewish Dahlia. You know, now you got to give your dog a Jewish name, and then it's all complete. You know, you got to give Lucy a Jewish name.
Yeah, I'll tell Chris for you.
Oh, thanks.
If all the rabbis and all the Chabads all over the world tell everybody to buy a shofar on Amazon, are they going to have enough in stock?
You're right.
Well,
buy them now.
Exactly. That's why I'm telling people now. Go before the rush. Before the rush on the Rosh Hashanah shofars.
Well, we need to grow
now.
And prayer books too. I don't have any.
And prayer books, exactly.
Yeah.
Get your prayer book now.
How can we get that? The prayer
I put
book.
in the link on this past Friday. I put the link in. It's in my email. There was a link to order the prayer books. So you can get those. So those are great opportunities. So turn your house slowly but surely. Add more and more little Jewish things to the house. Make your house more and more Jewish. Make your life more and more Jewish, so that your house becomes the center of Jewish light, and from there it spreads out to the whole world, making this world a better place. One Zoom, one house at a time. So l'chaim, everybody. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's all sing and celebrate and bring about the time
Hold
of
on
the
1 second, Mark.
celebration of Mashiach. Let's finish up the song. Ellie, you guys still got the piano on there. You got
I turned it down.
Oh, you turned it off already?
Shut it down.
Oh, sorry. Oh, just playing one more song?
Od shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Eveinu shalom alechem. Eveinu shalom alechem. Eveinu shalom alechem. Eveinu shalom, shalom, shalom alechem. Shema Yisrael, Adonai
Eloheinu.
Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha U'b'chol nafshecha U'b'chol me'odecha Ve'ayu advarim ha'elen Asher anochi mitzavacha yom al levavecha V'shinamta levanecha v'dibarta bam V'shibtecha v'veitecha U'v'achtecha v'aderech U'v'shalvecha v'kumecha U'kshartam le'ota yadecha Ve'ayu letotavot b'ninecha U'tavtam al mezuzot b'necha U'v'sharecha V'ne'emar
למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה השם, אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, אל תירא מפחד ביסו, ומשויס ישועים כיסבו. הוצאו עצה וסופר דברו דבר ולא יקום וימנו כן. הוצאו עצה וסופר דברו דבר ולא יקום וימנו כן. הוצאו עצה וסופר דברו דבר ולא יקום. הוצאו עצה וסופר דברו דבר ולא יקום וימנו כן. הוצאו עצה וסופר דברו דבר ולא יקום וימנו כן.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. God bless you all. And we'll see you on the next Zoom. hopefully before then.
Amen.
Thank you, Ellie. Best. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Ellie.
Everybody stay healthy.
Enjoyable. Thank you.